Before we begin, I would like to give a quick disclaimer that there can be flashing lights or things that may cause sensitivity or epilepsy in this video. And if you are afraid of or disturbed by themes like syringes, self-harm, darkness, or epileptic and or sensitive jump scares, you should not watch this video for your own safety. Viewer discretion is advised. Have you ever decided to search up a franchise you really enjoy on the platform of Roblox, but it leads you to finding out some of the most disturbing things you've ever seen? This is Aworldisgrey. In this ARG, we are the perspective of a random person whose child had found a USB owned by their father of playing an old Roblox and Sonic the Hedgehog collab game, and found some strange anomalies in the game that took the design of the Sonic the Hedgehog, but something is clearly wrong. His limbs are freakishly longer than the ordinary Sonic, and he doesn't even have eyes. Without further ado, let me introduce you to In this first video, named First Video of Roblox Sonic, we go into the perspective of the main character playing a game on Roblox called Sonic's Little Roblox World, which is allegedly a non-canon collaboration between Roblox and Sega. In this video, the main character says that this is their first video and that they found some strange collab between Sega and Roblox. And they also say that they found it strange because Sega never said anything about this game existing prior to its release, and that they might be trying to hide something from the community, and then he shows its gameplay of the supposed collab. After this, it loads us into the title card where it says Sonic's Little Roblox World with a bland logo which looks to just be text slapped on the screen with an artifact and tilted slightly. On the screen has two buttons with settings and play, with the play button having a question mark for some odd reason. Both buttons have a red border which have thicker sides than the top and bottom. The background was what they thought Sonic looked like, holding a ring in some messed up version of Green Hill Zone with some really horrible background noise that is annihilating my ears. When the player clicked the play button, the screen flashed for not even a second with an extremely high brightness, high contrast variant of the original background image with all of the UI missing, and the god-awful background noise got even worse for a second, and is then followed by another brighter version of the image to the point where you can even barely see this version of Sonic. After around about 12 to 13 seconds of pitch black visuals and silence after what we just saw, we load into the main character lagging out slightly in game before entering the messed up version of Green Hill Zone we saw previously in the background image of the title card. A ring counter reading how many rings are left to collect shows up in the top right corner of the screen with very similar to UI used to one used in the title. The player looks around to see the map, then walks forward to collect the first ring. They then jump down from the spawn area onto the primary ground, and begin to look and start their hunt for the other 6 rings. Nothing important really happens while they're collecting most of the other rings, until when they have 2 rings left to collect, they run into some kind of strange cave area. The game lags slightly at the entrance, and the lights inside of the cave got brighter upon entering the cave. Inside of the cave has a very large bed, a table of items we cannot fully analyze yet, and torches littering the walls. After looking around for a moment, they go over to the table to see what's on it, and they find a copy of the original Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sega CD. When they look around again, they see a poster of the Sega logo as it lags some more. It begins to lag a little more when they go back from the desk, and they hear some kind of weird rhythmic sound which has similarities to low quality sounding breathing. Once they turn around to exit the cave, their game lags out to the point of it crashing. During the lag spike, every second frame we can see this version of Sonic standing right by the entrance by the ring counter. The quality drops for a frame and then the game cuts to black. After around 2 to 3 seconds of nothing happening, it procedurally loads in an error screen with a message saying that something went wrong with the error code 500, and that variant of Sonic standing and facing at a wall. Error code 500 has something to do with Roblox's servers themselves, suggesting that this version of Sonic can tamper with Roblox's servers. The next piece of media chronologically shown in the ARG is this community post showing concept art of that variant of Sonic. We found out in this part that its name is Emulator, and it's made by someone named Charles Hayes. His name will be very important in the future of the ARG. We also find out a name we can call the main character, which is User 1. We also find out we were meant to play as Emulator at first, but it most likely didn't work out, and instead you play as User 1. In the second video, named New Cave and Update, User 1 expresses how they find it weird that the game updated on its own and that it turned into nighttime in the game. and they think that time may be an actual existing concept in this game. This time, the title card is the exact same but with a version identifier at the bottom left corner of the screen, showing it's on version 0.1, and that this time, the weird bright flash effect did not show up when loading in, instead just cut to black and loaded them in. This time it did not lag when we joined it, and a message appeared at the top of the screen saying that the player has a torch. As stated by user 1 previously, it is nighttime now. Most of the part of this video is the exact same as previously, except that first off, there is now an iron door that leads somewhere, and a board which tells the player they need all the rings to enter. The cave they went to is boarded off, and we can actually see someone's slim arm on the bed, suggesting that someone is sleeping in here. Upon further inspection, the thing which is sleeping is actually Emulator. After collecting all the rings, it plays a celebration sound and opens the metal door. When they enter, it leads them into some kind of cave with holes in the roof, and the door slowly closes on them. They walk down the cave to the point that most of the torches had been snuffed out, and they turn behind them, hearing what sounds to be something clawing at the door or trying to break in. The game lags and we turn to look, and user 1 turns to head deeper into the cave, ending the recording after the game violently crashed. In this next video, named New Cave and Update Part 2, takes place directly after the previous video. After walking further into the cave, they run into another section of the cave, with an opening that leads out to snowy mountains, yet it works more like a window due to it being small to go through. There is a station where user 1 can deposit their torch for a walkie-talkie and a lantern, which has a working coal fuel system where user 1 has to go find pieces of coal inside of minecarts to refuel their lantern's flame. User 1 enters the deeper, darker section of the cave, and the metal door there slams shut on them hard enough to make some cave rocks fling with a loud bang noise. User 1 explores the deeper sections of the cave, noticing that there are more rings needed to be collected. They keep recollecting fuel when needed, and they collect the other rings, occasionally going to refuel the lantern until they reach the last one. They collect it and attempt to go back to exit, but the game crashes as they turn and try to move to leave, and their computer gets a blue screen of death. This next video is hidden in the description of the previous one, and I don't really need to explain this one. I'll play the clip.
So, have you seen the latest reports?
I have. Charles.
About the progress on Sonic's little world? Yes, it's finally stabilizing.
I'm not talking about the project. I'm talking about your son.
I don't want to talk about that.
You can't just bury yourself in this. He's gone. This Roblox collaboration. This emulator experiment. It's not helping your mental health.
I'm fine.
No, you aren't. You're overworking. You're isolating yourself. And you're rewriting core behavior at 3 in the morning. I'm authorizing mandatory leave. You need time.
I said I'm fine! Let's continue the latest progress on Emulator.
Alright.
What I propose is this. When the player enters the game, Emulator should acknowledge them, not with dialogue, but something subtle.
So, basically, the CEO of Sega tells Charles Hayes to take a break because of how ruthlessly he's been working on the game. Yet Charles lashes out at him, telling him he's fine and he doesn't have to. Straight after, when he says they should keep talking about the game, he's back continuing to brainstorm ideas like what just happened wasn't real. At the end, Charles says the emulator could acknowledge the player, not with words, but with something more subtle. As he said that last part, the video glitches and ends. What could this possibly mean? Is there going to be some kind of change which makes emulator different in some kind of discreet way? The next community post reads, "Why did poor Blank do that?" And it shows a distorted image of Emulator looking like he's melting with what looks to be a syringe in his hand and blood splatters on the left of the screen. The name is physically redacted, but whoever it was must have been someone who's really bad mentally. Upon further analysis of the post, the censor text has 7 characters, which is the exact same number of characters as Charles suggesting that he may potentially be the person who this post is directed to. By seeing the syringe and blood on the screen, we can only suggest that the injection he got did not end well. Potentially, the melted image of Emulator may have been some kind of side effect of hallucinations after the injection, causing him to see this version of Emulator due to him already being so attached to it. It would not be a surprise that he'd start hallucinating again. The next video was released the same day that this one was released. In the video called Failed Attempt, it is unlisted, but we get a perspective of what sounds to be Charles Hayes playtesting a very early build of Sonic the Little Roblox world. The sky is untextured, the trees aren't model, and there is only a tiny island of land to move on. In the video, Charles tests out the basic functions of the game, like collecting a ring or moving around and testing the physics. After this, however, he goes up a slope to a higher section of the test map and finds that same copy of Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sega CD on the floor that we saw earlier in the first episodes. He is disturbed by this, obviously, not having had it to begin with, and when he begins to question, his game lags out, and you can hear him begin to scream as the footage turns black and white, more distorted, and then the recording cuts, and a message in black background reads that this prototype was scrapped and remade. After that, the video ends. Except, there is one more thing I missed. In this version of the main menu, you can actually see a link to a Google document that we will analyze in a separate video. In conclusion, this ARG is nowhere near done yet, and we have only seen the beginning of what is to come in the future. What does Charles have to do with all of this? Why is Charles so obsessed with Sega, and what happened to his son? We will uncover this in the later videos. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.